Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
President Trump delivers a critical speech to Congress.
Our nation is back.
Pushing his policies.
The golden age of America is upon us.
The economy.
A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Tariffs.
We'll continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement.
Immigration.
The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Some Democrats boycotted, and at times, some booed.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself.
Complete coverage of President Trump's record-breaking State of the Union address and the response from the other side of the aisle.
108 minutes, the longest State of the Union speech in recent U.S. history.
During that time, the president touted his accomplishments despite his poll numbers dropping on his handling of the economy.
We have live team coverage, and let's begin with Natalie Brand joining us live from Capitol Hill. And Natalie, the president certainly tried to make his case to the American people.
That's right, David. Erica, the president argued that the State of the Union is strong, calling it the golden age for America. But new CBS News polling shows most Americans describe the country as divided.
The President of the United States.
President Trump delivered the longest State of the Union address of the modern era. He defended his record on the economy and immigration 1 year into his second term.
Our border is secure. The roaring economy is roaring like never before.
The president also addressed rising tensions with Iran.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
The Olympic gold medal winning U.S. men's hockey team was among the special guests highlighted last night. The lighthearted moment brought rare bipartisan unity during a speech that put political divides on full display.
These people are crazy.
The State of the Union comes as President Trump is facing dwindling job approval numbers in a pivotal midterm election year. With the latest CBS News poll showing the president's approval rating at 40%, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger hit the president on his immigration crackdown and the cost of living.
Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? We all know the answer is no.
President Trump is set to take his economic message to Texas later this week ahead of key primaries in the Lone Star State. And last night during the speech, President Trump also touted his policies to cut taxes, including no tax on tips. And he gave a shout out to a Pennsylvania waitress and mom, Megan Hemhauser, who lives just outside of Scranton. She was among those in attendance last night. David, Erica.
And Natalie, last night was really the first time the Supreme Court was face-to-face with the president, especially since their decision on tariffs last week. But not all the justices were there last night, right?
That's right. And not all justices always go to these big joint addresses before Congress. But the 4 who were in attendance included 3 who had ruled against the president's tariffs. That's Chief Justice Roberts, also Justices Barrett and Kagan. Justice Kavanaugh was also there. He was in the dissent. And while the president called the Supreme Court ruling disappointing during his State of the Union last night, he did not go as far as the criticism that he had levied in earlier days on social media, did not directly criticize them in the chamber last night. So that was notable.
Natalie Brand for us this morning live in Washington, D.C. Natalie, thank you so much. We're also monitoring stock futures before the opening bell and how the markets are responding so far following the President's State of the Union address. You can see everything is in the green at this point. We'll keep you posted and monitor those numbers all throughout the day. Opening bell at 9:30.
All right, during last night's address, President Trump tried to get ahead of an issue that many of you right here at home are concerned about.
Yeah, that concern being data centers and their impact on your electric bill. Our Megan Shin joins us live this morning in Springdale, where a data center is going to be built. Megan, this was some good news, especially for the people there.
Yeah, good morning, Erica, and good morning, David, from a snowy Springdale borough. And this is where they recently approved the use of AI data centers here in Springdale borough and the plans for it. It did not come without pushback, though, from people who live here. As you said, they are very concerned about the cost that could come with having those AI data centers here. It's a cost that people who live here don't want passed on to them. And it's part of the reason that President Donald Trump mentioned it during his State of the Union address last night.
We're telling the major tech companies that they have the obligation to provide for their own power needs. They can build their own power plants as part of their factory so that no one's prices will go up. And in many cases, prices of electricity will go down for the community, and very substantially.
You heard it from the president right there, and the president announced his administration is requiring major technology companies to fully provide electricity to their own data centers. Now, he called it, quote, the new ratepayer protection pledge. The president did not name the companies that were involved with this, and he also did not provide details as to how the plan would be implemented or enforced. In our previous reporting, though, we shared that the United States is projected to need more than double its current energy output to power AI in the next 5 years alone. So in Springdale, they are not alone here. Stowe Township saw homeowners push back as well on the proposals there for AI data centers, and McKees Rocks now has ardent data centers, and the Beaver Valley could become the data center for artificial intelligence infrastructure for the region, a big hub in that area. And we are keeping our eyes specifically on how the president plans to roll out this ratepayer protection pledge, as he calls it, and hopefully getting more details in the near future. From Springdale Borough, Megan Shin, KDKA-TV News.
All right, Megan, thank you for that. And for continuing coverage, stick with KDKA and the CBS News team. Ahead on CBS Mornings, they will have live reports from D.C. and responses to the president's primetime address. Join them starting at 7 a.m. right here on KDKA. And we're going to be right back.